This is Black Desert on PlayStation 4. So this is the beta. As you can see, we have 6 classes that are available for people to check out when the game is in this beta form. We've got the Warrior, we've got the Ranger, the Sorceress. For context, I've played this on PC and very extensively on Xbox recently when it released on that platform. So I'm very excited to be making these comparisons to the PlayStation 4 version of the game. I am on a base PlayStation 4 console. And yeah, that's just for context in regards to what we're getting here. So again, Warrior, Ranger, Sorceress, Berserker, Wizard, and Witch. These are just the classes available during the beta. So we're going to be a Warrior because that is the usual class I go into. So what's really neat about this game is the extensive character customizer. It's really actually well known for that. I will note that in the beta there's a level 50 cap, so you get to basically experience everything that you want to in the game in terms of the content and everything like that. No content restrictions. The beta includes the first 3 regions of Black Desert, and all quests are active. And yeah, you get the incredible kind of customizer. So you can see sort of what we got here. I'm not going to dig into it too much, but you can really go wild with the character customizer in this, changing like literally every aspect of your characters, and they look fantastic in the actual game. And again, this doesn't matter because, you know, beta and everything like that. So just trying to give you an idea of what you can actually do in the game in regards to the shine and just sort of changing things and everything like that. It's just really quite dynamic what can actually be done, just like shape-wise, readjustable parts. Then you can go into this like more in-depth sort of customizer where you can drag things and adjust the facial aspects of your character, and you can also do that for the body. There's makeups, there's tattoos. There you go to the body and actually show that off again, so that you can see that there's the adjustable scale section, so you can really tweak every aspect of your character, male or female, and everything like that. It's quite intensive and really very well done. Again, we're not going too in depth because we've got to get to the action, and you change your horoscope. This aspect changes your character a bit. Beauty album. And then your action, you kind of change like your clothing style if you want something, you know, a little bit more intense, everything like that. So yeah, we're gonna start just kind of showing off this area here quickly, because this is a good indication of what the game in most areas that are more density is gonna be like. We're gonna show off more of a casual area later on. This is just a quick run through so that you understand what the more intensive areas are before we jump into the full showcase of this game. So it does have obviously more pop-in and issues here with the loading of things than other sections where you're more outwards. And this is again a really good test of how things are going to be. We're going to have to see how more intensive servers are going to be under pressure, because, you know, this is the beta test and everything like that. But you just have to imagine there being huge crowds of players running around at the same time as this. And I say this is a good test area because it's near the start. It's where there's a lot of density in regards to good AI, bad AI, enemies, and other players running around, and combat coming into the mix. So I thought this was a really good sort of starting point before really digging into things, just so you can get an aspect of the game when it's fully under pressure. Here we go. So the game does take a little bit of a load up initially, but from there it is sort of a really open experience, just in terms of you're not really loading to go anywhere, which is great. So here's the actual gameplay. There's like cinematic segments that pop up occasionally. The game is largely guided. There are multiple options for sort of tweaking your pathing and how you deal with things. This is a premium MMORPG experience, so you do pay to access the title. And yeah, here we go. So we got our little black monster thing. He is quite creepy, quite honestly. And he's going to be your pal for the game. He literally, you know, sort of holds your hand and he guides you along. So the game does have an automatic sort of movement system. And yeah, it's very much a title that is based around open world exploration, taking in quests. There's a main narrative. There are side quests that you can take part in. There's lots to do in this game. You get really just tons and tons of hours of gameplay. I just played a ton ton of this on the Xbox version, and I did actually quite enjoy it there. So it's great to see it over here on PlayStation so more people can enjoy it. Then that's the cutscene, just giving you an idea of the content involved in this. So aside from doing missions, there's activities you can do. You can go fishing and stuff like that, and you can harvest from the environment, and yeah, there's just quite a lot to it in terms of what it provides. And we're just trying to work through this so we can get to more of the main chunk of the action. Again, it doesn't really matter because it's a beta, but this is good for showing off the initial sort of aspects of getting taught the game. So as you can see, it's actually quite a lovely world, just in terms of like the visuals. And yeah, but we are dealing with obviously quite a lot of pop-in. It seems sort of similar to the issues on the other console platform. We're not getting quite as much clarity within the environment, just in terms of like the brushwork and everything like that of the plants. I mean, yeah, it's not bad, but obviously there are issues, and that was sort of expected. So what's interesting about the title is it's got really flashy particle-based combat. So you get an interesting aspect of the wheel and how it's set up. So at the bottom there, you're seeing a bunch of wheels and sort of maps and guides. So you're actually able to like hotkey and customize those aspects of the experience if you want to. And yeah, just take a look at the combat. So there's certain movements that you can pull off, and you obviously unlock more as you level up. It's an MMORPG, but it's just very particle-based. The action is very intensive and quite free-flowing. So we're gonna call up our little buddy because we got a quest that's finished here. So we kill that thing, and then he comes up, and yeah, again, this character sort of grows and changes with you as you progress in the game, which I think is kind of cool. A lot of this is sort of combat-based, quest-wise. So you are going around killing a lot of things. Sometimes they mix it up a bit, but that is really quite the majority of the title and the experiences, going around and mulching up enemies and everything like that. But it is a fairly expansive experience. I mean, there's like quite a lot of content to it, and you can go into the beta yourself, obviously, and give it a whirl. I'm just trying to show off what it's sort of like. So we're going to finish this mission, and then we're going to do some wandering around in the area. Oh yeah, and there's lots of different sort of species available, and each zone's got its own sort of thing going on. As you progress, you'll find different creatures you're dealing with and stuff like that along the way. There are like guilds and everything. There actually is quite a bit to this, at least in my opinion. What do you want, weird minion thing? Yeah, we can trust you. Cool, so we're gonna just quickly move away because I know a lot of people are gonna want to see how the environment sort of handles itself as you move. As you can see, quite a bit of pop-in, and we're seeing some like performance dips in the environment already, even in the starting area. You do get a pretty good draw distance. It honestly is running better than when I saw it at E3. I was at the Into the Abyss 2, so it was very nice of them to invite me to that so I could check it out. But yeah, it seems like they've cleaned things up for that one further. I mean, I don't think it's a huge hindrance, this aspect of things, but I mean, that's going to be entirely up to you. Oh, cool, they use that for that aspect of it. Neat. So we got this like wheel, and you go up, and you can see that kind of going here. Different inventory. I want to show off the world map because it is quite neat and full of depth. You do get a mount and everything in this fairly early on, so that you can ride your horsey everywhere, which is nice. But yeah, as you can see, it's a very large landmass. There's a lot to it, a lot of different areas, and they do add content to the game as well, which is nice. And it has been well supported. And yeah, it's kind of, again, great to see it on another additional platform. Again, this is the beta, but it is pretty close to launch, so I would consider this being sort of a demo as to what to expect when the full title does release, just due to how close it is to the launch of the title, and comparing the beta sort of experiences on Xbox to the final release and stuff like that. But it seems like they have sort of ironed things out. I mean, it's not running perfectly, obviously. Just speaking from experience, though, they definitely got a better handle on it than they did releasing on the other platform initially. At least in my opinion. Who am I talking to? Who's my guy? My guy? Yeah, you're my guy. The magic of health potions. Yeah, cool. So we're gonna go in this weird cave thing. And there's a lot of like AIs doing stuff too. I mean, it's sort of a lively world, and it does get quite full. I always love MMORPGs when they first launch. I've only been in a couple of those kind of experiences, just because it's like so jam-packed when everybody's running into it. So I would imagine that things are going to be pretty kind of busy initially off the start, and yeah, that should be really cool. I believe you're actually able to hide that in the menu option. Can't remember how I did that last time on the other console. And we're going to this area. Interesting. Ooh, go in there. The self-running thing actually works quite well. Yeah, whatever, dark guy. So you can just really, it's kind of easy going in that regard because your horse just takes you where you need to go. And you are going to get a lot of content out of this. The storyline kind of randomly ends, in my opinion. At least, you know, sort of where I stopped at launch on the Xbox, because I put in like 30, 40 hours and everything like that. I know you don't want to hear the comparisons, but I'm just trying to give you context into my experience with this game so that I can make a direct comparison, so you understand what you're going to be experiencing and everything like that. So while they have limited the classes, there are more classes available in the game. Again, they sort of add content to it. The last beta, what they did was, you know, limited sort of classes, and then they sort of trickled out content over time, which does make sense. Kind of interesting. So we're going to continue along here. We're going to have to defeat more enemies, so you can see what the gameplay is like there. Yeah, again, a lot of, you get some narrative segments thrown into the middle of something. There's actually quite a narrative going on as you continue along, but then you're going out, you're killing, and then you're going to an area killing stuff. That's just the nature of these kind of things. And I mean, if this is something you'll like, you know, that's completely up to you. Footstep, nice. Mashing these wolves up. And then you can loot them as well as you'd like to. Great, really rocking this. Really fun is going up against, like, I think imps. I've killed like thousands of imps in this game. So, you know, wolves are like a welcome change up. And you can branch out and see different areas, and usually you have to fight a big monster too, which is kind of cool. After the end of your battle areas in certain segments, you'll see that there's a scroll type thing that you get, and then you have to summon a big monster, and it's like, whoa! You know, all intensive and stuff like that. At least I think so. Whoa! Combat skill points. And there's other people out here, which are kind of cool. It's always neat seeing other characters in a game like this, like a multiplayer title. Very interesting. But yeah, I'd say it's not perfect, but it is running decently. I don't think the pop-in is going to be a huge issue for people. It does seem to run smooth enough during combat. You know, that is obviously going to change a little bit based on the server load that they're facing. But this is a good expectation because it just sort of released, so you get an idea of what it'll be like during perhaps more like regular hours and not like right off the launch frenzy that the game will experience when it does come out. And yeah, hopefully I'll be also checking out the full release of this as well, just like I did on Xbox. We'll have to wait and see, of course. But yeah, it was really cool seeing this at the Into the Abyss, because it was like, I assumed it would be about a year after the Xbox version, so it makes sense. So we need to defeat the young tree spirits. There are really cool classes in this, so I suggest sort of playing around with whatever one you like, getting used to that. So you're getting some more like little dips and stuff, and we're fighting in that. Believe it or not, for this game, this is actually kind of smooth. Yeah. Can't wait to see the Switch version in the future. Oh yeah, I see the thicket there. So you can like as I mentioned, collect items from the environment, and that works into some side things, and there's professions. Fishing is a big pastime in this. I know a lot of people that just go and like fish in this. Many different areas for fishing. Summon the black spirit. Accept your weird gift. Yes. Yeah, okay. And then there's enchantments and all that stuff too, where you can improve your armor. You've got a full inventory system, of course. Transfusions, crystals, and then item reforms, a big thing too. Those are more like when you really get into the game, you kind of deal with that. So, yeah. Oh, and then he periodically gives you inventory upgrades, which are kind of nice. And then you got to go to your inventory to tweak that all out. So, now we're going to learn about mature tree spirits. Sometimes it's faster to go your own path in the game, I've noticed, because, you know, it just sort of passes you along regular pathing areas. Again, take a look into the environment to kind of notice how it reacts to your movement. You get pretty good draw distance and everything like that. Oh yeah, learn about... I always like that in this game. You learn about things by killing it. That's how you get like an idea, like the damage and all that. Kind of humorous. You gotta genocide the local population of creatures in order to understand how they work. Oh wait, that's not something we're trying to kill. Sorry, creature. Trying to kill this thing. Come on. Die. And we're mulching away. We're not really going too intensive, like skill based and everything like that, because you do get to customize what your attacks are and stuff like that. It's quite in depth. There's a lot to it. You can play this for a lot of hours if you are enjoying it. Like, I really packed the time in because I was having a fairly good time with it. I look over some of the slightly, you know, performance problems. I think it looks decent, and again, like your character that we had mentioned that we built at the start, obviously we've been seeing the whole time, but they literally do transfer over perfectly from that character creation into the game. It's sort of a flawless transition, which is really neat. Like, look at the character, the expressions, the look and everything like that. It truly is a strong character customizer that does hold up over the years and still is impressive to this day. At least, you know, I think so. It's kind of nice. Mature spirits, now we gotta kill these bigger things. But yeah, you know, the environments are full of depth. There's a lot of action going on. And it does seem to, you know, run decent enough for what this is and what I've seen of it in the past. That will, of course, be up to you whether or not you like it. Okay, what do you got for me, weird thingy? Let's get over there to the objective thingy. Yeah, sometimes they'll say check the quest window, but you do literally have to run to a point and then chat with somebody about things. Yep. Now we gotta go kill the imps. Right on. Oh look, the imps are right here. Oh, this is a perfect area to kind of show off more of the performance, because I remember this being, yeah, this was a good test point on Xbox. Wow, that kind of looks really ugly in the distance. Ugh. Yeah, because this is one of the more heavier areas, density-wise, so we're definitely seeing more performance problems in this section of the game. Yeah. Interesting. Seeing lots of pop-in. It's not the best at this portion of it. Yeah, a lot more pop-in and visual issues. Still, it's running all right. Like, it's hard to describe what this sort of issue is. This is more like the extra details in the world having issues as opposed to generally like the game having problems, if that makes sense. So what you're gonna get here is a long initial load up. It's a fair bit of time, but once you get in, you run through it well. I mean, obviously it's not perfect. It's just not going to be. But it seems to be adequate for combat. Yeah, lots of loading. And with this being sort of the beta right before launch. This is going to be sort of the state of the game when it does first release. Just going off the history of the title, obviously, and the limited time they would have to actually adjust things further going forward. We're going to get in here for some intense imp slaughtering action once we get back to the main spot, because this is one of the more crowded areas. Let's fight some imps. Die. Oh yeah, and you gotta break all their structural things too, which is kind of funny. Screw their art and history. We must savage and decimate them. Yeah, gotta kill them all. Anyways, that's Black Desert on PlayStation 4. I enjoy this game, and if you can get past the sort of issues that are present in terms of just how it loads and everything, I believe you'll actually have a good time with it. I know some people have problems with it, that's up to you. If you want to give it a whirl, just know what you're expecting, that this is a premium MMORPG experience, filled with a lot of quests, many hours of gameplay, fun horse action, lots of towns to visit, many activities to take part in, and just generally a lot to do.